Hello, this is feedback on the 2016 AQA GCSE geography paper that was used for the 2017 January mocks, and here's the feedback. Okay, question number 1, Restless Earth. Study figure 1 on the insert, which is an atlas map showing tectonic plates, so we know what we're going to be looking at before we do. So it says, use figure 1 to complete the fact file. So name of plates are X on the plate margin. So if we go here, we need to find X. Plate margin is there. There's only 2 plates, the African and the Indo-Australian. Okay, now that was actually only worth 1 mark, both correct. Okay, the next question was, name of the volcano at 43 degrees north and 122 west. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so here we've got the equator, which we know is at 0 degrees. Now anything north is so many degrees north. So if you go up, the lines are marked. So this one's marked at 30 and this one's marked at 60. So we know that 40 is about here, and so 43 is about there. So you go across, and the volcano that we're interested in is going to be somewhere along that line. But we've also got 122 degrees west. So if we come up here, the 0 goes through the UK and is here on this map. And anything west goes this way around the world. So here we pick it up at 60 degrees west, 90 degrees west, 120 and 150. Now we need 122, so it's going to be ever so close to the 120 line on this scale map. So if you come down until you meet your horizontal line, and you can see it's there at Mount St Helens. Okay, so Mount St Helens is your answer to that one. Now it says here the distribution of tectonic features in South America. That's quite tricky because they haven't said earthquakes and volcanoes, but in fact this was worth 2 marks, and one was for talking about the earthquakes and one was for talking about the volcanoes. So if we look at the map, we can see that the earthquakes are in the west side of the continent, whereas the volcanoes are in a line along the west coast. So they're much more concentrated. There's this cluster here close to the equator, and you could also say that they run along the Andes or along the destructive plate margin. So the mark scheme would have looked like this, and there were 2 marks available for that, which is why a lot of people got 3 and not 4. Okay, next question was a classic formation question. So you had to explain the formation of fold mountains. So whenever you're doing a formation question, you have 4 steps in the right order. This is true whether it's 4 marks or if it's 6 marks. 4 steps in the right order. Now, here we go. First of all, you've got rivers on the continents that flow down into the oceans, and when they do, they deposit their sediment that they carry, and they deposit it in the ocean, on the ocean bed, in what we call a geosyncline. Second step, over time, the sedimentary rock is compressed to make sediment. The sediment is compressed to make sedimentary rocks, and it's compressed by the weight of more sediment on top or the water from the oceans. So over time, the plates move together. So we're talking about destructive boundary here, collision or subduction. And the 4th step is that these sedimentary rocks, which are laid down in layers, are crumpled. And they're crumpled to form anticlines, which stick up, and synclines, which are your valleys and go down. And together these make fold mountains. So how did the marking go for that? Well, if you got level 1, your process was either incomplete or in the incorrect order. So as I said, level 2, 4 steps in the right order. And this is true for any formation question, for rivers, for tectonics, anything. 4 steps in the right order. Okay, study figures 2A and B on the insert, photos of the Andes, a fold mountain range. With the help of figures 2A and 2B, And here is a key word, and a case study. Discuss how people adapt to the difficult conditions experienced in fold mountain ranges. Okay, so this is our 8-mark answer. So we know for a start that we're going to have to plan our answer here so that we can access the full 8 marks. So we've got to use the photographs on the next page, and we've also got to use our case study, which actually also happens to be of the Andes. And our command word is discuss, which is a tricky command word, but it means we've got to use lots of good connectives like moreover, for, therefore, however, even but, and we're showing how people adapt to the difficult conditions. So the focus of this question is the word adapt. How have people managed to cope in these difficult conditions? The difficult conditions are high altitude, the steepness, the soil conditions, and so on. So, what do you need to do to get the top level? Well, you must, first of all, do what they say, which is use photos and a case study. And you must explicitly refer to them. So, in photo 2A, it shows this, and it shows how people have adapted like this. Okay. With your case study, you need to have your case-specific details, names, facts and figures, and this was mostly done really well by people. You must make 2 or 3 points which are made in paragraphs, and this is particularly where the planning comes in. Each point needs to be developed with linked together ideas. And finally, make sure you get the right focus, which is the adaptations of people. So if we go to the photographs, we have got a picture of some terracing, and we can see that the town is in the valley bottom. So our first point is going to be that in photo 2A, the people in the Andes have used terracing to farm steep slopes that otherwise they wouldn't be able to farm, and it's given them flat surfaces. We can add in our case study knowledge now. We know that they use oxen for ploughing because they can't get tractors up there. We know that they plant their potatoes at the top in the poorer soil, because they need less tending, so they have to go up there less often. And we know that they plant their cash crops like their tobacco at the bottom where the soil is more fertile and where they can get to them more often. And we know that they call that system Waru Waru. And some of you did some really good work about the drainage that's involved with Waru Waru as well, in order to stop the heavy rainfall taking all the soil down the slope. Okay, second picture is your llamas, and they're clearly being used for pack animals, but you might notice that this one is actually carrying some rucksacks and tents, so you might be able to relate that to tourism as well. Okay, so 2B, llamas. The photo shows llamas, and they're being used for transport. Why? How does that show an adaptation? Because they can climb the steep slopes that cars can't get up, and they can do it in all weathers, and they can carry, I think they can, they can carry 3/4 of their own weight. Now, we now need to bring in some of our case study knowledge. We know that they use their fibre as well as the fibre of alpacas, because the animals can survive at the high altitudes, and their fibre is very warm for making clothes to keep the people warm. Okay, so we've got 2 nice paragraphs now. So we've got 1 paragraph, 2, we need our 3rd paragraph. So in this one we might talk about HEP, how actually using the steep valley sides and the snow melt means that we can generate electricity, and that electricity is clean electricity. Or on the other hand, we might talk about the fact that because it's fold mountains, the rocks formed under high pressure, meaning that we've got a lot of minerals that can be exploited, and we might have talked about the Yanacocha gold mine in Peru, which is the biggest in the world. Okay, so moving on to the next question. Now we've got our scales here. Outline how they are measured using the Mercalli scale. Key thing, we've got 2 marks, so we need to give 2 points. Mercalli scale shows the damage done. It's based on observations, and the score goes from 1 to 12 in Roman numerals. 1 being barely felt, only picked up by instruments, and 12 being total destruction. Some people muddled this up with the Richter scale, so I'll just go through that as well. The Richter scale measures magnitude, which is the amount of energy released, therefore the vibration of the ground. It uses a seismometer to pick up the vibrations, which is recorded on a seismograph, and it's an open-ended logarithmic scale. Okay, so study figure 3 on the insert. The map shows the shaking intensity of the Sendai earthquake near Japan in March 2011. Describe the pattern of shaking intensity. The key thing here was the idea of the word pattern rather than just saying where it was high or low. So you had to get the pattern idea. So if we look at the map, we can see quite clearly that there's a pattern to this. Here's the epicenter. There's a band of really intense shaking, another band slightly less intense, less intense, less intense. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that there's a pattern, that there are bands going westward in which the shaking intensity reduces. Okay, so here are some of the marks that were available for that, saying that it was strongest on the east coast, that the shaking intensity decreased towards the west or away from the epicenter, saying that it decreased in bands or belts, and also pointing out that there was no shaking, or the lowest shaking, in the south of the map and a tiny bit on the northwest as well. So 3 marks. If it's ever an odd number question, you know it's point marked, which means you've got to give that many points. Okay, last question on Restless Earth. Describe the primary and secondary effects of an earthquake. Lovely question. 4 marks. The very clear structure. Okay, 1 paragraph on primary, 1 on secondary effects. However, for level 2, you must actually distinguish between. So you must say these are the primary effects. This is a secondary effect, and you should develop your statements. And a really good way of doing that is with a case study. So primary, death, buildings collapsing, road collapse, and you might have picked out the Great Hanshin Expressway in Kobe. Okay, and secondary, looting and the fires that swept through Kobe when the gas main broke, actually causing more destruction. The looting after the jail fell down in Haiti. Okay, so that was your last question there. Okay,